Zawre migrated from Kusa Zuluk and settled at the current Lore community and gave birth to 5 people. He decided to discuss with them that they cannot all be in one place because those days, war can break out. And so he decided that the Pelungu, who was his firstborn, Yamsiya, should go behind him and settle. Then the Damolgo, who is Yempu, should settle just closer him. And then he decided that the Lore, who is the lastborn, should stay with him.
Over the years, the people of the 5 communities of Zoliba have continued to relate as brothers and sisters.
If there's a problem in Lore, the problem is exactly for the whole of the Zoliba community, likewise the other communities. And that's why we are one family.
But this bond between the Zoliba communities was not created just by word of the mouth. The bond is represented by this majestic mahogany tree, which is a shrine for the communities.
That is our ancestral shrine.
And that's it for Ghana Connect tonight. On the back of that Ghana Man series, I'm going to hand you over to a woman who is strong and sassy. Hello, anyone.
On some days, and some days not so strong and not so sassy.
Oh, really? I've never seen you not so strong before. You always look formidable.
Well, because I'm coming to work. But I'm just saying, I mean, everybody has their private struggles and their moments. Yeah, so true. We're not always strong.
But I like your topic today, children and motherhood, a woman's right to choose.
Yes.
Choose what?
To choose when they'll have children, how they will have children. So it's not a conversation about, okay, I want to have a baby, so I don't care if my partner wants to have a baby or not. I'm going to trick him and I'm going to decide. It's not that kind of conversation. Wow, okay. I can see the shade there. It's not that kind of conversation. It's more of the kind of conversation, Evans, that we know that, well, there was a study by Princeton that was done, that as a woman starts to have children, if she's at a really good place in her career, after the first child, her earning power drops by 20%. And 4% for every consecutive child after.
Wow.
On the flip side of that, men's salaries go up by 6% per child.
The more babies do you have,
the more responsible they seem. So you can imagine that if you're, let's say, a 27-year-old woman and you're doing really well, you may want to wait a little bit because of how it affects your ability to earn. In the past, that window starts to close after 30, where, you're not as fertile, your eggs are not as good. But guess what? Now you can actually freeze your eggs.
You can.
Yeah, so at 25 or 26, you can take your eggs out, have them frozen, and decide, you know what, I'm going to do what I got to do, and then maybe when I'm 38, I can decide to have a baby because then it may not affect me where I am financially. And then at 38, I can decide that, you know what, my body is maybe not as strong as it used to be, so I'm going to have a surrogate have my baby. It's still my egg. It's still my husband's sperm. It's another woman that's carrying it who's being paid to. The thing is that technology, and International Women's Day this month was a lot about technology. So technology has given us a lot of options. And somehow in Ghana, Africa, it's something that we're not talking about too much, because there's always if you're not having kids, then pray, or, have children, it defines you. But we want to broaden the conversation tonight. You did, Bob?
No, I want to be part of this conversation because I'm just sitting. I like that Princeton study. I think it's fascinating. Really. I really would love to. You need to send that to me so I can read more about this because I need to have a Ghana Connect on this, actually. One of those days with women, actually.
Yeah, it would be great. The more children you have, the less your earning power.
And put men and women in the room and have an honest conversation about it.
And also, that same study also showed us that women who go for interviews and don't talk about children are more likely to get hired than women who go for interviews and refer to their children, because they're seen as a liability. You're going to want to go home. The children are going to be sick. There's going to exactly. But men get more respect for it, though. It is not a fair world.
I am looking forward to this conversation. You don't want to stay with Anima Nimado and her guest. Look, who is on?
Okay, so I have Dr. Demi Lecha on. She is the Deputy Director for Total Family Health Organization, and Dr. Nita Asamoah Menujima as well. It's a very, like, Charlie, today we go talk.
I've met them, and it's going to be
we are very, very, very serious people.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You are very, very welcome.
Listen, even if you're a man, don't run away. Listen.
Hello, good evening, and welcome. This is Strong and Sassy on your superstation Joy 99.7 FM. I'm really excited about tonight's conversation. And if you are listening to us, me talking to Evans, then you know why. It's everything to do with motherhood, children, and choices. What the show is not It's not a show where we're going to discuss why you should or shouldn't trap your boyfriend into having a baby when he doesn't want to. It's not that kind of show. It's the kind of show where we're actually going to talk about options that you can take in choosing when you want to have a kid, how you want to have a child, whether you're ready or not, and the real options that are out there because of technology that allow you to make these decisions. A few years ago, it wasn't like that. So it's a really good place that we're in, and we're going to have a conversation about that. My name is Enimo Animado. This is Strong and Sassy on Joy 99.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Homes, businesses, communities, whatever the space, wherever the place, Azar is the paint. Azar paints are high quality, long lasting, and always give a great finish that will make your space shine. At Brighton, Azar, still number one.
From the Azar Group.
Welcome back. This is Strong and Sassy here on Joy 99.7 FM. Today our show is up until 7:50 because apparently there's a football match. So Real Madrid and somebody. But I'm sure you guys are really excited. So the sports team will be taking over at 7:50. But until then, I have two amazing women with me in the studio tonight. Both of them first time on Strong and Sassy. And I'm really excited. So I have Dr. Demi Lecha Gia, who's a Deputy Executive Director for Total Family Health Organization. Hello.
Hi, Nimwa.
It's so good to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yay. And also Dr. Nita Asamoah Menuchima, who is a specialist obstetrician gynecologist. Also, your first time here. You're welcome, Doc.
Thank you very much.
It's so great to have you here as well. So it's International Women's Month, pretty much, and we're talking a lot about technology. And so we thought, why don't we talk about the advancements that technology has allowed when it comes to the area of fertility. But before we do that, though, Dr. Lecha, you have a background in public health.
Yes.
And so you can imagine that for this conversation, one of the major barriers that we had or have is the mental... I'm not sure what word to use that goes with having a conversation like this. So already, we've had feedback. What do you mean women must choose? What do you mean women can't choose? How are you going to freeze your eggs? How does somebody carry a baby for you? And these are major things here in Ghana. So I really want us to start with you kind of addressing some of these concerns or some of these mindsets that we've had that are not allowing women to find the freedom in the choice.
Well, when it comes to family planning, contraception, and essentially reproductive health, a lot of the time, because of our own cultural norms and traditions, we tend to be very uncomfortable speaking about it. But health professionals such as myself and Dr. Nita, we're here to really bring information so people know, and then they can choose the right choices for themselves. So really, the conversation is just to be educative, to bring insight and knowledge and awareness to people so they are able to make the right choice for themselves.
Do you think that it's a woman's decision or is it a couple's decision? And where there's conflict, do we, go to the it's my body, my choice, or do we how do we go around it in the first place? Even?
Well, the thing is, it's your reproductive health is your right. You have the right to access information, to access choices, knowledge, everything. So those are guaranteed for you. And actually, under the laws of Ghana or in Ghana, you reserve those rights as an individual human being. Even for adolescents who are sexually active or not, they still reserve the right to the information. Now, for women who happen to be in relationships or in marriages, certainly it's your body, your choice. However, because you're in union or in a partnership with somebody who could be a fiancé, a boyfriend, or a husband, certainly having that discussion is important. So I always say men's knowledge and awareness of reproductive health issues is also key. So certainly it's worthy of a discussion. However, we are working with women, and women have the right to own their bodies and to decide how and when and in what way they want to have children. So certainly it's important. There's no need for acrimony. There's no need to have a fight. It's just as simple as a conversation that has to be had. Yeah.
So in your experience in dealing with some of these issues, do you feel like the men have come a certain way in terms of exploring some of these options? Because a few years, well, maybe not a few years, many years ago, if you're married to a man and you're in the house and you can't have children, the next thing you hear is that I will you okay, but they've gone and brought another woman, or so he's gone and impregnated somebody, and that is it. You have nothing to say. There's been no conversation. There's been no exploration.
Right.
Do you feel like, in your experience, is changing? Are we getting better as a society? Are we more open? Do you find people asking more questions?
Well, I think in the younger generation that's changing a bit. That shift has taken place where men are more aware. We have the internet where you can find information. Not all information is right information, though. However, we have choices where people can go and access right information. So that is changing a bit, but there are a lot of pockets of gender inequality and inequity, and all of these things really do come in. So I wouldn't say we've moved 100%, across board and have changed as a society. Although we're moving forward in the modern world with the modern times, there are still pockets of areas where these cultural ideations still hold very strong. That's why we're all here. We're always spreading the word, trying to get people involved, people of all ages, of all classes, of all socioeconomic status, and so forth, so that we can really begin to move forward as a country when it comes to women and their reproductive health rights.
Okay. So I'm coming to Dr. Nita now, but Dr. Elisha, do feel free to button, whenever you
sure, we're having a conversation, so exactly. Certainly. Thank you anymore.
So Doc, I was just telling Evans, I found this Princeton study that showed that as a woman has children, her earning value decreases. Apparently, according to the Princeton study, after your first kid, your salary bargaining power, even the value of your salary, decreases by 20%. And then it's 4% per child after that. That's in the US. I mean, I don't know if anybody's measuring that in Ghana, but we do know how people go on maternity leave and come back and they've lost their jobs. So, I mean, enter egg freezing, because then it allows me to say, I'm doing really well, I'm going to wait like 10 years. What's that like? Are women more open to doing it? And what does that even look like in the first place?
Okay, so I would say that recently fertility preservation has come up in recent times, and it's not really because they want to keep their birthing on hold. Mostly it's for people who, let's say, are having issues with fertility, let's say a couple, and then they would want to try some sort of other means of getting pregnant. And studies have shown that fertility is not solely the woman. It's a third from the man, a third from the woman, and then a third from either unknown causes or combination of both man and woman factors. It's not like before that we all used to think that, if a woman can't get pregnant, it's because of she, the woman. But now it's becoming more and more, people are becoming more and more aware that it's because of the man. So let's say they try other means of trying to get pregnant. There are several ways. We have something we call ICSI, which, especially if the man has a low sperm count, then they take the sperm directly, they get the semen, get the sperm, and then inject it into the woman. And then we also have something we call, they are all forms of IVF. So let's say the couple have, they've taken eggs from the woman, they've taken sperm from the man, they've fertilized, and then they have a number of embryos. So instead of throwing the extra away, they then freeze this embryo. Oh, so
we're not freezing eggs.
We can freeze either of them.
So you can either freeze your eggs or you can freeze the embryo. Okay. Yes. I remember there was some celebrity in their custody battle, they were battling frozen embryos.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can either freeze your eggs or, let's say, freeze your embryos, so that if at a later time they want to use those embryos again, instead of going through the whole process all over again, they can now just inseminate the embryos. And then we have those who would want to freeze only their eggs. Probably they have, let's say, a cancer of the ovary. and for some reason the ovaries need to be taken away. So then they can freeze some of the eggs and then have the surgery, take the ovaries out later on after they've recovered, and then they now want to get pregnant. Then they can use those eggs. Or for some reason their ovaries are failing earlier. We call something premature ovarian insufficiency. If they are failing, then they are not ready to have kids at that time. They can take some of the eggs out and then freeze them for a later date. Or, like you're saying, for career reasons, somebody wants to advance in her career. If she looks at the timeline, she's probably going to do 10 extra years. And let's say she's 25 or 30. Then she would want to freeze those eggs and then at a later time bring them back. But then we should be aware that your fertility generally decreases as you age. Age is the single most important factor that affects your fertility. From your late teens up to about late 20s, that's when you are most fertile. So after 35, it starts to go down and down and down. So some people, if for their career reason they want to freeze those ones, they can freeze the younger eggs and then later on use, because if you freeze older eggs, I mean, it may work, but then the chances of abnormalities or failure is higher.
Okay.
So then those are some of the reasons why people...
I mean, so basically, if you are like me at 40, it's not now that you are coming to freeze your eggs. Ideally, you should have frozen them a long time ago.
It's not cut in stone that you can't freeze your eggs when you are 40, but then they would explain the risks to you.
Okay.
That if you do, these are some of the things that may happen. We may even use your eggs, but they may not fertilize, or the pregnancy may not work. So after 40, most places will use, donor eggs. To inseminate, or to, mix with a man's sperm. But then it's your choice. If you still want to use your own, you would have to understand the risk that will go with it before
you go ahead. Are we open to that? The whole egg donor, sperm donor thing? Are we actually, as a society, really open to that?
Well, some agencies or some fertility clinics do that, but it's not as common as sperm donation. I mean, there are lots more people who donate sperms than those who donate eggs.
If you're a woman and you want to have a kid and you don't have a partner, then you'll get the sperm.
Yes. You know, it's easier to donate sperm than to donate egg. So it's a whole lot of processes. So it's not so easy to just get people all over the place and just to donate their eggs.
So if, let's say, there was somebody listening to us and she's done these tests and, you know, her eggs are not viable or useful anymore, you can use a family, you can ask your sister.
Yes, you can ask sister, a mother, a cousin, probably usually somebody who's closer if you want a family.
Okay.
But you can also use friends. It doesn't necessarily have to be related to you, or you can use somebody's one you're not familiar with.
But then, I mean, I'm thinking the argument we go, but the child is not going to look like me.
No.
They're going to look like them.
Like them. Or, like them plus your partner. That's if your partner is donating his sperm.
But not all biological children look like those.
And then, you know, we have adoption and all that. So even those children, we consider them as our children. So you would still have to carry the pregnancy if you want to.
Yeah.
But that child will not be biologically yours. Maybe the donor plus your partner. So at least.
Yes. I don't know how we feel about that. It's a bit of a mental hurdle to cross.
It's a lot of emotional and mental and psychological and financial issues when it has to.
It's expensive?
Yeah.
How expensive is it?
You want me to quote a price?
No, I just like you know, an idea. Like, okay, is it like around 20K, 30K, starting from 40, budget 100? You know, sell your house, sell your existing children. So I mean, like, what kind of, just so that people.
Well, most places probably around, let's say, $5,000 or more.
Okay, so starting from about 50K, Ghana cedis.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so it's not cheap.
No, it's not cheap.
The fertility process is not cheap.
It's not cheap. So most people, would you would have to discuss it with your doctor or with your partner and prepare adequately for it, because it's not really 100%. Even normal pregnancy that God gives us is not 100%. I think it's about 25 to 30. So the IVF process just adds on a little percentage to it. So when the couple come, they need to understand that what is going to happen is not going to be like 100% you're going to get pregnant. So you have to manage your expectations and then prepare adequately for it. Some people can go and come a few times. Some people can just do one time and then not. Sometimes, if you are lucky, in the process, you can even get pregnant. So that
I've heard that those kind of stories a few times.
Occasionally, it happens, and I mean, of course, that's a lot of financial relief. But
it is, isn't it?
Yes, they still have to prepare.
So, Dr. Lasha, you know, there's this thing that I've heard a number of people say that when you use contraception when you're younger, right? Especially, I think the pill, the injectables, the Menaris, they mess up your. I know it's not true, but obviously I'm not a doctor, so but there are people who think that. So clarify for us the contraceptives that we use when we're not ready to have children. Do they affect our ability to have children, especially the ones that actually we ingest as opposed to like a condom?
Okay. So let me just give the listeners a broad overview of the family planning or contraception methods that we have available. So it's into two broad categories: your short-acting methods and then your long-acting methods, okay? So short-acting methods could be a condom, and, you know, it's one sexual act versus one condom.
They are not reusable.
They are not
Those
reusable.
Who remove it and wash it.
Yes.
You have to stop that.
So one condom per act. So that's a short-acting method. There's also the oral contraceptive pills. That's also a short-acting method. We have our injectables. Another, every 3 monthly injectable. So those are usually your short-acting methods. Then we have the long-acting methods that are able to stay in for a number of years. So you have your intrauterine device. It's about the size of a matchstick. Usually it's in a T shape, and then it's inserted in the uterus. Some do have copper. Others have, progesterone that is released minimally over a number of years. So you could have a 5-year one or a 10-year one. Then there's also the implant, which is inserted just subcutaneously, and it also stays there, and it's hormone releasing.
So under the skin?
Under the skin, yes, just under the skin. And, so that also, there are several brands of that, but usually people are able to wear for about 3 years. Doc, wouldn't you say some go?
There are two types. We have the 3-year one
and the 5-year one.
Okay.
Yes. So those are the longer acting methods, the one that stay with you for a number of years. Generally, this myth or misconception about family planning is prevalent. People do think that return to fertility after you've used contraception for a number of years or for some time is difficult, but that is not always the case. For many family planning methods, return to fertility is within the year. So if I know finally I'm done with school, I'm married, I'm settled, I have a job, I've been there for a number of years, I think I want to try to have children now, then you can, if it's a long-acting method, you can have it removed, or if it's a short-acting method, then of course you can then stop using it and then usually return to fertility. If there are no other extenuating circumstances, we tend to forget issues with the partner, we tend to forget many other things, but if there are no other extenuating circumstances, return to fertility should be pretty normal. Yes.
Okay.
Regular.
So for those of us listening to us who maybe are having a bit of conflict with their partner about maybe I want to wait and have a kid next year, but so I want to get an IUD. What you are saying is that using contraception today will not affect whether or not you can have a kid next year.
Yes, it doesn't. So I just want to make it clear. Using contraception does not mean that eventually you will not have kids. That is not the case. It's a myth. Using contraception doesn't mean that it would travel somewhere and something would happen to you, or the contraception methods that decrease your menses doesn't mean that it's trapped somewhere. So there are a lot of myths and misconceptions that are rooted in lack of knowledge and an understanding of the process of how family planning works or contraception works. And then that breeds all the myths and misconceptions that people have. But that shouldn't be the case. So I would advise all persons, you can visit your local Ghana Health Service Center or hospital or facility or even a private clinic, and there should be a health provider who can then explain all the methods to you, and you should be able to, understand and then decide what you want to do for yourself.
Okay, Dr. Nita, I want to talk about surrogacy, but before...
can I add just a little bit to the family planning? Okay, so what family planning does, we have the hormonal and then we have the non-hormonal ones. Most of the hormonal ones prevent you from ovulating, so that's what would stop the menses from coming. So when you stop using it, your ovulation starts all over again. And for some people, it may take a while before they start ovulating again. Okay. So once you haven't ovulated, definitely you're not going to get pregnant. So that's why it makes them think that they are not going to get pregnant afterwards. And then the non-hormonal one is a copper. That one, because it doesn't change your hormonal system, then immediately you take it out. It takes sometimes even that cycle or the next or a couple of cycles more, then you would have your should I say you'd be able to get pregnant. So contraception does not affect your fertility. Other things, like if you wear a contraceptive method for 10 years, that means your fertility has gone down, because if you're 25 now, by the time you take it out, you'll be 35. So it has nothing to do with the contraception. It has to do with the fact that you're growing. You're growing, yes. Okay. So it doesn't affect your fertility. Okay, well, thank you for that. I feel like that's a major thing. So surrogacy. I don't even know. There was a show on TV a couple of months ago that I was watching, and a group of women were having a conversation about surrogacy. And there was an insistence that it's not normal for somebody to carry your baby. I mean, how is that a thing? Okay, so I would say that surrogacy is an option for people who can't carry the babies. It's not about whether it's normal or not. It's for when you cannot, for some reason, carry a baby. Let's say you have a medical condition. For that reason, carrying a pregnancy is not possible. Some people have certain diseases like diabetes, hypertension, which is quite bad. And they may have other medical conditions for which carrying a pregnancy is dangerous to their health. Or let's say... for some reason, whatever reason, they can't carry a baby. Then this person still wants to have children or still wants to be a mother. Then the option of surrogacy comes in which the egg and the sperm can be taken from the parents to be, and then mixture is done. When the embryo develops, they put in the carrier, and then she carries for them. Or if, let's say, the woman doesn't have viable eggs, they can then take from somebody or the carrier, and then they mix with the partner sperm, and then it starts to grow. It's not really about it's being normal or not, but it's a child which you're going to love as your own. So if it's not everybody who is going to be able to get pregnant or everybody who's going to carry a baby, the most important thing is that at the end of the day, that child is yours. And then you're going to love the child as your own. You're going to grow up with the child and train up the child how it's supposed to be. So yes, it is an option, and it's just coming up. And as women,
Kim Kardashian did it with, I think, 4 or so of her kids.
Yes, and
so it definitely brought it to light.
Somebody, Gabrielle Union
also did as well.
Yes, so it is an option for that. And then if you're able to do that, I mean, it is a beautiful thing to raise a child. So I don't think it really is about whether it's normal or not. And as women are also advancing and taking up careers, which takes up a long time in their lives, those options would come on as time goes on. And there are people around to do that. Either to donate the eggs or to carry the baby for you. Okay. There are people.
So how does that work?
Well, it's usually done through agencies. So they give certain requirements, you have to be of a certain age, you have to be of a certain parity, certain health status. You go through.
What parity means?
Oh, sorry, parity, the number of children
you've had.
You've had, yes. So there's a criteria as per the requirements. So if you go and then you talk to them and then you fit the criteria, and then there's the couple who also wants the child. They also come, they bring in certain things they may require. If that fits the surrogates, then we can start the process of, for both the mother and then the intended mother, they can do that and then get the eggs, get the sperms. When it's ready, they inseminate, and then the pregnancy starts in the surrogates. And then she's taken care of. Mostly, there should be some form of, should I say, agreement or a legal something, because
a contract
kind of, because this person is going to carry the pregnancy for 40 weeks, between 30 to 40 weeks,
and they could run away.
Yeah, they could. It's an option that you should have at the back of your mind, because you can't tie this person to a room or to a house forever. She has to try and live her life as normal as possible. And then whatever agreements is in the contracts with them, they have to take care of her health bills while she's pregnant, the antenatal visits, any labs that needs to be done. If she gets sick during the pregnancy, they should be able to take care of. But most of the time, the surrogates and then the intending parents are not supposed to see each other or meet.
So they never know each other.
It's not advisable because of several other things that can happen. Somebody can go and say, "Oh, that's my child. Okay, I know you live in this house. I'm claiming my child back," or something of that sort. Yeah, so it's really not advisable that they meet. So mostly they do it through a lawyer, the agency, the hospital, and then the intending couple. So that's whatever happens is channeled through that.
Okay.
And
so there's no direct contact.
There's no direct contact. So they take care of the person till the pregnancy is time, and then the baby is delivered. After delivery, then it's given to the intending parents, and then the surrogate is also taken care of in her postnatal period till she crosses the postnatal, and then whatever she was due, they give it to her. And
I mentioned the show to a gentleman friend of mine, and he said that. So when, because he's married and he was there for the birth of his kid. So when you've carried somebody's child for 9 months, and then you have the baby, and you know your uterus is contracting, your boobs are full of milk, you're releasing all of these bonding hormones, and then this baby is just snatched from you, even though you know that the baby is going to be taken away, and this baby is snatched from you and given to this guy. How
it's not snatched.
No, I mean
funny how it's not snatched.
But it's taken away. I mean, they're not allowed to nurse the baby or to bond.
No, but it's like Dr. Nita was saying, it's an agreement. So it's as simple as I'm unable to do this right now. My body's unable to do this A, B, and C, and so it's an agreement with somebody else to be able to do that for me. And we're using their functioning reproductive system as the vehicle or the utility to be able to produce a baby that we would both love and cherish and nourish and everything. So the surrogate understands what this is about. And most surrogates are empaths, and they're very understanding, and they want to be able to do this for the next woman who's unable to do that. So a lot of them come from a really good place, and they're willing and happy to be able to have carried that child for the person who is unable to for whatever reason. So it's not like I was bound and then my baby was taken away from me, so that's really not the case. And everything, when it's done well, like Dr. Nita said, between the contracting agency, between the attorneys, and between the surrogates and the couple, everything should be, smooth as it should be. And usually at the end of the day, the surrogate is happy to have been able to do that and to gift that joy to the couple. Usually it's not a snatch type of situation.
I think I've read a few issues in the States where the surrogates that decides not to give a baby to them after like when it's getting to time or when the baby is born. So I think it all brought about the reason why these contracts were written, to protect both the surrogates and the couple, because it can go both ways. The surrogates at some points can say, no, I don't want to hand over the pregnancy, the baby.
And the couple could split up and decide we don't want the baby anymore.
Yes, so all those issues come up. So that's why always there is a contract, so that everybody understands before you enter that this is what is going to happen. Don't expect to bond with a baby. We don't expect you to do that. That's why immediately the baby is born, the baby is taken away, because the longer you spend with a baby, the more you start to love and then start to bond, and then you feel like my baby has been taken away after some time. And then also when the process is starting, that's why we advise that the woman should have some, let's say 1 or 2 children, because it's a lot easier to carry for someone when you've had yours, rather than when you haven't started at all. And then you have the whole emotional roller coaster making you feel like, oh, somebody has taken my child. And I mean, it's not the best.
So surrogate babies, I'm just calling them that because are not breastfed then, because if you didn't carry, then you're not going to produce milk. Or is there a way to stimulate the production?
Yes, some people are able to stimulate the breast to produce milk. And milk production responds to certain hormones in your body.
Okay,
so you can stimulate a woman to produce. Even in America, there are people who are called breast milk producers. They're not necessarily pregnant. All they are being given is drugs to stimulate their breasts to keep on producing milk to store for people who may need that. And then there are also options for breast milk. Like actual breast milk. I'm not sure whether they are in Ghana, but
in many places there are milk banks. That so you can request from. They freeze it and it's perfectly fine.
Definitely not Ghana, because we are still doing.
You never know. You never know.
Maybe not yet.
Maybe not yet. But the woman can be made to produce breast milk for the baby.
So I guess alongside the pregnancy, you kind of prepare yourself. So by the time the baby is born and handed over to you, then you
can now breastfeed the baby.
Because I wonder whether the mothers who are collecting, are receiving their children feel the bond. Is it something that would be instant, or would it be something that will be built over time? Because you know how it is when you're pregnant, you've had 40 weeks. There's the kicking, so you know this human being already before they come out.
Yes.
But then it's like, okay, 40 weeks later, here's your baby.
But you know that bonding with a child is not automatic.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, yes, you didn't carry the child, but the child has your genes or has your partner's genes. So from day one, as you take the baby, you feed the baby, you burp the baby, change the diapers, baby cries, you have some good moments, you have some sad moments. As the whole process keeps on going day in, day out, there is some kind of bond that would form between the mother and the child. And then as they grow up together, then generally the whole love and adoration or mother-child thing should start. I mean, you're not going to get it like you carried it yourself, yes, but there is still a bond, mother-child bond, especially if it was your eggs that was used. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really change.
But I would say traditionally we've had moms that were not our birth moms or biological moms that we love dearly, just as if they were our mothers. So it's really the same thing when you look at things. So bonding, like Doctor said, it's not always automatic. It's what is expected. However, people who may not have carried their children themselves also are fully capable of loving that child, just as if they had carried the baby themselves. So we really should open ourselves up to these alternatives, because there are people who really do struggle with fertility issues and would wish that was not the case. However, this is what it is, and so we should be open as a society to somebody who's willing to explore other options if that is what they really want for themselves.
I was just actually gonna, we're kind of out of time, but I was actually just going to ask you, Dr. Lecha, that if where we've reached in life right now, if you're struggling to get pregnant and it's going on and on and on, and you are sitting down crying, and wailing and all of that. There's really no reason for that anymore, is there?
Well, I'll leave the obstetrics part to Dr. Nita, but if I'm coming from the public health point of view where people's mental health is important to me, will there be times where you have tears and sadness and crying? Yes. And I think it's only natural. It's a natural desire. And, if it's proven to be difficult, it can create difficulties in your marriage. It can create difficulties with your in-laws. It can create difficulties because society has expectations and people can, often utter very unkind, insensitive comments.
Yeah.
So sometimes we just need to pace ourselves. If you're feeling emotional about infertility issues, that's perfectly normal. It's perfectly normal. Of course, your obstetrician gynecologist would discuss all the other clinical aspects related to that. They could also support you with some counseling. You could also, read things about your mental health and your own wellness to be able to deal with the difficulty. It is a difficult situation.
Yeah.
So let's not be surprised when people actually have, emotional difficulties dealing with it. So let's be kind and let's be patient with them. And then Dr. Nita can do the clinical bit of it.
Yes. So I would say that if you're having difficulties with fertility, there are options available. We have, depending on where the cause is coming from, if the cause is from the woman, the person should be examined, the person should be investigated. If the cause is treatable, then they should treat that cause so that their fertility comes back to normal. If it's from the woman, several reasons why a woman cannot have a child, those options should be explored. They should investigate and then find out why they can't carry. If those those causes of infertility are solved, majority of the time this couple are able to have kids. But if for some reason still after that time you can't have kids, then we have the IVF options available. We can step higher to the IVF options. If they are not possible, then we can go to, say, surrogacy. If all that is also not possible, then adoption is also there. So it's not about, for some reason, if you can't have kids, it's like it's the end of the line for you. There are several options that you can sit with your obstetrician or your gynecologist, and then you discuss with a person. And then there's also, apart from the public health aspect, you also have clinical psychologists, so that if you're going through these difficult times, you can talk to them. And then, it's not easy to, in our parts of the world, it's not easy not to have a child. Everybody sees you like some esteem or some level in society to have a child. It's not everybody who can have a child. So if you can't have it and you're going through difficult times, these are options available. There are egg donors available. There are sperm donors available. If for some reason your partner's sperm or your eggs don't work, we can use these people to help, substitute to have kids for you, so that you can still get the kids you want. And then the last one is the adoption option, which is also available
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Fertility is such a big conversation.
Yes, it is.
So many women are in pain.
Yes, it is.
When it comes to this option. So I'm really grateful that both of you took time out to join us. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Well, that's Strong and Sassy for us for today. A very big thank you to Dr. Demi Lecha Dria and Dr. Nita Samoa Menuchima. Thank you so much. We've been live on Facebook, so if you missed any part of it, you can go to Facebook and catch up, and you can put your questions underneath. I will pick them and then forward them to the doctors so that we can give you feedback. Let's keep the conversation going because we really want to support women who are.
Yes, definitely.
A few people have asked for your number. So is it okay to give it? Or should I just direct them to Shape?
Yes.
Direct them to Shape.
Rather.
Yeah,
yes.
I think,
my team, Dr. Sefoga, we all work there. Okay. So if they have any issues, it'd be better they come there.
Okay, and of course, I will direct them to your office.
Yes, they can reach out.
Well. Yes,
on our website here at www.tfhogana or lowercase.org. So if any questions they have about family planning and contraception, would be happy to answer them.
Okay. Yes, and in case you didn't know, TFHO is the peeps who bring ebony condoms. I'm sure there's been a lot of noise about ebony condoms.
Yes,
and
indeed,
secure contraceptive
yes,
pill
those
as
are
well.
our brands.
Yeah, those are your brands. So you can definitely reach out. But
I have a show on Facebook also called Time with Dr. Anita.
Okay.
Yes, it talks about fertility, it talks about pregnancy, it talks about, I have some videos on contraception as well.
Okay, so what times?
It's on Facebook anytime.
Okay, so you
the
can
videos
just
are there, so you can just log on, Time with Dr. Anita, and then look for whatever you want to find. It's show that keeps on. I keep on videoing and putting videos there from time to time.
Okay, so there's always information.
Yes, there's always information
out there. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you too.
I would like to say a very big thank you to Dr. Promise Sefoga, who supported us to come up with tonight's conversation. And it's not a conversation that we have often, so we're really excited that we're able to do that.
Big boss.
You know, Dr. Sefoga, his clinic is Shape Clinic, and when it comes to IVF, surrogacy, egg freeze, and if you need any information on that, you want a specific place to go to, the website is www.shapehealthcare.org. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram at Shape Healthcare MC. Get over there, get the information you need, get some support. Just, get it moving. That you don't need to sit at home and be sad at all. There's so many.
Yes.
Many options.
We've moved on. We've really moved on from I can't have a child, you're crying in the house, to I can't have a child. What are my options?
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly. So Shape Healthcare MC, Facebook and Instagram. Also a big thank you to Lola Locks for my hair. You can find them on Facebook as Lola Locks. And finally, a big thank you to Dr. Lecha and Dr. Nita. Thank you. I'm really, really grateful. I'm really grateful. I remember the advert that said, if it's not on, it's not in. So get your ebony condoms.
Hello. Yes, people. Make sure you do. Make sure you do.
Exactly. And stay safe.
Protection matters.
Yes, exactly. Follow me on my social media pages. Instagram's Enimoa_AA, Facebook Enimoa Animado, and TikTok named Sparkle. I'm getting more. Your friend is saying with the time, so you can find me on TikTok. Please don't laugh at my videos. Name Sparkles, and please don't laugh at my videos. But thank you so much. We'll be back next week. Coming up next is football. The boys are going to storm the studio soon, so decide who you're supporting and let's make some noise. Stay safe out there. My name's Enima. Back next week. A big thank you to Abeku, Mirabelle, Crispy, the whole team. You guys are so amazing. Thank you. All right, we're going now. Bye.
So I said